Good morning. We have got, all right, we've got Artemis 1 coming back to Earth after going way past the moon. Um, Sounds like we've got about 10 minutes. I'm listening.
Back into the Earth's atmosphere and through all of the parachute deployment sequence events leading up to splashdown that is scheduled at 11:39 and 42 seconds a.m. Central Time, 9:39 and 42 seconds a.m. Pacific Time.
All right, so what's coming
One
up?
thing worth noting is once Orion splashes down in the Pacific, it will stabilize in one of two positions, either pointed up, which is called stable 1, or pointed down in stable 2. The crew module uprighting system, known as the CMUS, deploys a series of 5 bright orange helium-filled bags on the top of the capsule that will either flip Orion right side up or keep it right side up in its stable 1 position. Those 5 bags are packed in hard containers and installed atop the capsule inside the structural gussets between the parachutes and other equipment. They're inflated with helium gas that is stored in pressure vessels located close by the bags. Each bag has its own independent inflation system. The CMUS, or crew module uprighting system, initiates after landing and opens up a valve for helium to flow into those uprighting bags. It is considered, at least operational, that we have 4 out of those 5 bags to inflate to maintain a stable 1 configuration for Orion to enable Navy divers to approach the vehicle. One of the first things that they'll be looking for is any leakage of toxic gas or toxic fuel from the vehicle. Assuming there is no such leak and that Orion appears to be in good shape, then they'll begin the methodical process of approaching the vehicle with other personnel and other Navy assets in order to begin the securing of Orion on the ocean for its towing back into the well deck of the USS Portland.
All right, so I had
We're
to
under
kind of
4
scramble
minutes
around a
now
bit to
until
get
the crew
this.
module and service module separate from one another. We'll be standing by for all of that. You can see in this telemetry-driven animation that Orion is currently traveling just under 17,000 miles an hour, just under 4,000 miles away from Earth, and a hefty 254,000 miles from the moon, which of course was its target, in distant retrograde orbit, flying around the moon for its outbound powered flyby at the beginning of the mission to move to a distance of some 268,000 miles away from Earth, farther than any human-rated spacecraft designed to return to Earth had ever been designed to do, surpassing the distance record established 52 years ago during the Apollo 13 mission.
All right, so I had to scramble a bit to get this all going. So this will not be my most professionally produced stream, but I couldn't miss this. I couldn't miss
Here
it.
in Mission Control, the flight dynamics folks and the guidance, navigation, and control folks have put up a graphic which is essentially the ground track for Orion as it will make its way across the southern Indian Ocean, passing the northwest coast of Australia en route to its ultimate trajectory that will carry it across the Pacific. It will be moving from south to north across the Pacific Ocean to the splashdown zone, almost a direct straight line towards the point of splashdown, which will be west of Baja California. Now just under 2 minutes until crew module, service module separation.
If you could do me a favor and drop me a comment. I've been having some issues with comments I'm trying to troubleshoot. Let me know if you're watching on Twitch or on Facebook. That would help. I'm currently broadcasting to both, which may become a problem. We'll see. I don't know. I hope I can keep it going. It's taking a lot of computing power to do that. But come on, computer. I think you can do it. I think you can do it. It's been a rough
Now just 1 minute away from crew module, service module separation. We'll be standing by for confirmation of that from the mechanical systems officer here at Mission Control.
Probably should have fixed my hair. No time, no time.
30 seconds until separation. This will come at an altitude of 3,200 statute miles. Ten seconds until sep. We have confirmation of separation. Orion flying on its own.
So they separated the...
Again, the separation occurred right on time at 11 a.m. and 11 seconds Central Time, with Orion 3,200 statute miles away from Earth. The service module, the European service module, has done its job.
If you are watching on Facebook, if you don't mind hopping over to Twitch and watching me over there, that would help me gain some traction on Twitch, which I've been trying to do. And if you could follow me over there, that'd be even better.
So with Orion flying on its own, we're about 18.5 minutes away now from the point of entry interface, where Orion will be put through its paces. This is where the heat shield will begin to feel the effects of peak heating of 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit on the heat shield, and the beginning of 2 blackout periods where the plasma around the vehicle will build up such that it will block data and communications between mission control and the spacecraft itself. Orion continues to fly smoothly on, all of its systems in excellent shape. Less than 17 minutes until entry interface.
So when Orion splashes down, they're actually going to tow it into the inside of this boat. It has the back of it opens up into the sea, and so they're gonna pull it into the boat, do other inspections.
And the crew module raise burn that we thought was not going to be needed is being conducted. Just basically a fine-tuning of the orientation and the angle, a 16-second firing of the thrusters, and a good burn reported, 8.12 feet per second, and a change in velocity. So the raise burn was executed. That will further fine-tune Orion's path at the proper azimuth or orientation, where the heat shield is at its optimum angle, to begin the repulsion of the heat that will build up around the heat shield at the time that we begin entry interface, just about 15.5 minutes from now. So the crew module service module separation went off as planned. The raise maneuver was executed at 11:03 and 41 seconds Central Time. Again, the raise maneuver was executed. Orion now flying at the proper orientation for entry interface into the Earth's atmosphere. Entry interface is scheduled at 11:20 and 14 seconds a.m. Central Time at an altitude of 400,000 feet. At that point, Orion will be traveling 24,464 miles an hour with a range to splashdown of 3,659 statute miles.
So that's about 15 minutes.
Flight controllers reporting a solid lock with the tracking and data relay satellite system, receiving data that's being processed through the TDRS network. Just a reminder that after we pass into the Earth's atmosphere, at the speed at which we're going, and with the temperatures expected to build up very quickly for peak heating around the heat shield of Orion, we will begin the first of two blackout periods, the first of which is scheduled to begin at 11:20 and 16 seconds a.m. Central Time and will last about 4 minutes and 48 seconds. At that time, entry guidance, which has been stored on board, pre-programmed commanding for Orion to continue to point its way toward the splashdown zone, will take over. The first blackout period should end around 11:25 and 4 seconds Central Time. That will set the stage for the skip entry, basically the maneuver that will enable Orion to dip into the Earth's atmosphere and skip back out of the Earth's atmosphere and dip back into the Earth's atmosphere like a rock, a flat rock on a pond. That will continue to dissipate energy and heat on the spacecraft, and is a maneuver that data will be gathered for to try to bring in multiple splashdown sites for crewed missions in the future. The second of the two blackout periods is scheduled to begin at 11:29 and 3 seconds a.m. Central Time, and that will last for about 2 minutes and 50 seconds till about 11:31 and change. That'll be the final blackout period, after which we should lock up solidly for the remaining 8 minutes or so until splashdown.
All right, so those of you watching, I can't see your
comments. This is Mission Control Houston, 12 minutes
here,
away from entry interface.
If you hop on over to Twitch, I can.
Everything is going by the book so far here in Mission Control. Very quiet on the loops. Entry Flight Director Judd Freeling and his team of flight controllers watching carefully over their data as they oversee the arrival of Orion for its splashdown site west of Baja, California. Time to splash down 31 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna put them on mute for just a minute. We got 31 minutes until the next main event. But so far, this mission has gone pretty much on spec. They've even exceeded some of their expectations. So this is looking really good for sending people up there. Oh, now they're saying less than 11 minutes until entry interface.
Second of the two blackouts, Orion, through a series of pre-programmed commands stored on board, will conduct a series of role reversals. This is very much like space shuttles conducted during their entries back to Earth, where it will roll to the left and then back to the right, banking roll reversals that will bleed off excess energy, excess inertia, and speed, and control the thermal characteristics of the vehicle as it heads towards its subsonic point, where it will go under Mach 1. It will go subsonic at about 11:34 and 55 seconds a.m. Central Time, some 5 minutes before splashdown. If everything goes as planned, Orion will reach an altitude of 40,000 feet at 11:35 a.m. Central Time, just about a minute before forward bay cover chute deploy begins. The series of 11 chutes, 3 that will pull the forward bay cover off of the top of the crew module. That'll be followed by the deployment of the drogue chutes, and then the 3 large main parachutes, 3 orange and white parachutes. That'll be the moment we'll be waiting for. Orion now 28 and a half minutes until splashdown.
That's going to help me out. Thanks. I know it's kind of a pain in the butt to like all these different platforms, but I like going live on Twitch much better than Facebook. I'll explain why on another broadcast. I'm also doing some experimentation. I'm dual broadcasting right now to Twitch and to Facebook, which is something I've only done once before, and it's something that I can't do all the time because it takes a lot of computing power and a lot of bandwidth. But I know a lot of my friends on Facebook don't necessarily know that I'm on Twitch yet, so that's why I did this dual broadcast today for this splashdown.
Orion is approaching the northwest coast of Australia. 27 and a half minutes until splashdown. We're just 8 minutes away from the point at which Orion will dip into the Earth's atmosphere and begin what basically is a hellish entry, where temperatures around the spacecraft will raise to about 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's half as hot as the outer surface of the sun.
Whoa. Hey, Marilyn, I see you on Facebook. I can't see your
and
comments,
correction, Orion is actually traveling over the South Pacific at the moment, moving from south to north. Just 7.5 minutes until entry interface.
That's cool, Ferg. I'm probably gonna be emotional today. I'm just gonna let you know that. Yeah, New
And
Zealand
this
in the
view from a
house.
camera inside the
Oh, this
cabin
is
of
cool.
Orion. This doesn't look like much at the moment, but it will soon when it shows the forward bay cover jettisoning and the initiation of the parachute deployment system. Entry interface less than 6.5 minutes from now.
I love that we have developed our video technology to the point where we can like see this kind of thing. Like this is a live image from a spacecraft that is traveling so fast towards the Earth, and we're watching a live video from that. That's crazy and exciting.
Just to recap, the crew module, the Orion crew module, separated from the European service module about 14.5 minutes ago, right on target as it was planned, and a short raise maneuver, a 16-second firing of Orion's thrusters, oriented the vehicle, raising it just a tad so that its heat shield was at the proper orientation in the direction of travel, to begin entry interface in about 5 minutes at an altitude of 400,000 feet above the Earth. Orion is making its way south to north across the Pacific Ocean, currently traveling at 23,000 miles an hour.
Now this is an animation. This is not live footage. This is an animation because we've now jettisoned all the cameras, except for the ones that are inside the capsule.
We're about 5 minutes away from entering the first of the two blackout periods, which will last about 4 minutes and 48 seconds.
I'll be right back because I need some more coffee.
A journey that began with the power of the launch of the Space Launch System 25.5 days ago, about to reach its final minutes in the searing heat of reentry, where temperatures around Orion will build up to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Just under 4 minutes until entry interface. Once again, at entry interface, which we will reach about 3 minutes from now, Orion will be at an altitude of 400,000 feet, traveling just under 25,000 miles an hour, with a range to splashdown of 3,659 statute miles. Within seconds after reaching entry interface, we'll begin the first of the two blackout periods that will last just under 5 minutes, about 4 minutes and 48 seconds. And here's the ground track for Orion as it passes well to the west of South America. We're just 1 minute 44 seconds away from entry interface, moving from south to north to its splashdown target west of Baja California. Just 1 minute away from entry interface. And this view from the cabin camera, looking out of the upper hatch of Orion, you can see the limb of the Earth. We're going to be losing all of the data here shortly once we enter into the Earth's atmosphere and begin the first of the 2 blackout periods. Standing by for entry interface and the first of the 2 blackout periods. We are now in the entry phase. Entry interface has begun. Entry interface at 400,000 feet. Orion traveling just under 25,000 miles an hour. We've gone into the first blackout period. This is a visualization based on what should be happening at the moment, where the temperatures around the heat shield are reaching about 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the moment of truth for Orion. We should be coming out of this first blackout period just under 4 minutes from now.
Yeah, I just realized that, Fard. Thanks. This is amazing. This is a critical
Orion
part
should
of
be
this
traveling about
test flight.
23,326 miles an hour at the moment. Range to splashdown 3,125 statute miles. Again, this is a visualization of what should be happening with Orion at the moment, although we are in a blackout period that should end about 3 minutes and 15 seconds from now. Once we emerge from this first blackout period, we'll conduct the skip entry maneuver that will further dissipate heat and energy and begin a very, very dramatic reduction in the velocity of Orion as it approaches its splashdown site.
This is so interesting to me, the skip maneuver. They're basically bouncing Orion off of the atmosphere and then letting it come back down to slow it down. I mean, normally when you are entering an atmosphere with a spacecraft, you want to avoid skipping off the top, but they're using that to their advantage this time.
18 seconds from now, the second of the 2 blackout periods would begin about 6 minutes from now for about 7 minutes, followed by the jettisoning of the forward bay cover. That will begin the sequence of the deployment of the parachutes. First, a pair of drogue chutes, 3 pilot parachutes that will then pull 3 main parachutes to begin the final moments of Orion's descent back to its splashdown in the Pacific Ocean.
Exactly, Ferg. Like skipping a stone across a lake. It slows it down. Because this thing is barreling in towards Earth. I mean, took a lot of velocity to get where it was going, and it hasn't lost any of that velocity. And it's gonna. We need to bring that speed down. I think they're bringing it all the way down to 20 miles an hour before they splash down, which is amazing considering I think they're coming in at like 12,000 miles an hour. Crazy.
1 minute to go until we come out of this first blackout period.
This is a good time to go grab my coffee. I'll be right back.
When we emerge from this first blackout period, we'll be at an altitude of 274,000 feet, traveling just under 17,000 miles an hour with a range to splashdown of 2,000 statute miles. Standing by for a reacquisition of signal.
Ferg. I know. I know. I learned a new unit of measurement the other day watching one of the press briefings from the NASA people. A kilofoot. It's 1,000 feet. I'd never heard that before. Seems weird.
And we have data from Orion. Orion out of the blackout period.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Flight Dynamics reports that Orion is right on the money, coming right down the pike. A good view out of the cabin camera looking out of the upper hatch of Orion.
Whoa.
We should be performing the skip entry maneuver momentarily.
Ooh, are we going to get to see that?
Good communications established with Orion.
Lost a signal.
The second blackout period to begin about 2 minutes from now. Orion is at the apogee of the skip entry maneuver, beginning the second in a series of role reversals, again banking maneuvers to bleed off excess inertia and to dissipate heat around the spacecraft. The start of the second blackout period, about 1 minute and 13 seconds from now, will come at an altitude of 270,000 feet, with Orion traveling about 16,400 miles an hour, range to splashdown less than 1,000 miles.
Wow. I'm not crying, you're crying. have a mix of happy and sad tears going on today. We had to say goodbye to my dog earlier this week, so that's been crushing. And now this is really exciting, so my emotions are all over the place.
Coming up on the start of the second blackout period.
Hey, Stuart. I can see you join. Thanks for joining. I won't be able to see your comments, though, unless you hop on over to Twitch. I put a link in the comments. It would really help me out if you did that.
In that second blackout period right now. Orion approaching a velocity of 20 times the speed of sound. If all goes as planned, we should be out of the blackout period with a solid lockup on the vehicle at 11:31 and 46 seconds a.m. Central Time.
To go from 12,000 miles an hour to 20, that's a lot of work for those parachutes. If I had prepared properly, I would have had some like cool images.
This is Mission Control Houston, the airborne WB-57.
Doing the best I can.
One of the airborne assets to track Orion's return to Earth as visual acquisition of the vehicle. We should be coming out of this second and final blackout about 30 seconds from now. And helos flying off the deck of the USS Portland now have a visual acquisition of Orion as well. At an altitude of 174,000 feet, traveling 12,600 miles an hour, range to splashdown 288 statute miles.
Holy crap.
This view on the deck of the USS Portland.
You know they got to be excited, right? Especially if they can see it. Look at them all looking. I wonder if you can see it from like California. Exactly.
And there is a view out of the cabin camera of Orion as it continues a series of role reversals. We have data back from the spacecraft. Flight Dynamics reports Orion straight and narrow on a true course toward its splashdown site. Forward bay covered jettisoning less than 3.5 minutes from now.
I love those inside shots, man. You can just see like the Earth getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
150,000 feet off the ocean. Orion now traveling at Mach 10.
Well, that's fun for my vertigo.
Orion's speed now down to Mach 6. Two minutes until forward bay cover jettisoning. Orion 100,000 feet now.
I can't watch that. Sorry. Stop. No.
The spacecraft about to go subsonic. "45 seconds until forward bay cover jettisoning."
Getting close.
Orion now at 50,000 feet.
Kill him. Oh, yeah.
Forward bay cover jettisoning pyros are armed.
We love our imperial system of measurements here in the United States. I don't know why.
"25,000 feet.
Ferg, you're cracking me up.
Drogues have been deployed.
Okay, there we go. Now, drogue parachutes, they're like smaller parachutes. They're just kind of like to like initially slow it a little bit. They're not the main event. If you just let up the big parachute all at once, it doesn't work out that well. The drogue chutes also
Two good
help
drogue chutes reported
Orion.
by the recovery team out in the Pacific.
The spacecraft. Do you like my little
The descent rate is right on the money.
acting it out?
Orion's velocity now down to 282 miles an hour.
That's
Range to
impressive.
splashdown 1.5 miles. 10,000 feet now.
It's like two little eyeballs. There they go. Main chute deploy.
And we're on mains. 5,000 feet.
There they go, opening up.
Reefing in progress. Three good main chutes for Orion.
These chutes are basically the same as what they use on Apollo.
We have three fully inflated main chutes. Time to splashdown 90 seconds.
But they're much bigger and much stronger because
Perfect descent rate reported.
Orion's coming in much faster than the Apollo craft did. Is that what that's called? Reefing? I guess that's the, like, when it's like fluttering, trying to open, not quite open, and then poof. Oh, that's a nice shot.
And there it is. High over the Pacific, America's new ticket to ride to the moon and beyond now in view.
I have goosebumps.
Orion under its chutes descending toward splashdown. Orion in the perfect orientation for splashdown, just seconds away. (1,000 feet).
This is just amazing.
Good descent rate.
That thing has been way past the moon and back.
500 feet.
What an accomplishment. And with no major faults either. Yeah!
Splashdown. From Tranquility Base to Taurus Littrow to the tranquil waters of the Pacific, the latest chapter of NASA's journey to the moon comes to a close. Orion, back on Earth. Unofficial splashdown time, 11:40 and 30 seconds a.m. Central Time. At a mission elapsed time of 25 days, 10 hours, 54 minutes, 50 seconds. That's unofficial. Splashing down off the coast of Baja, California. The crew module uprighting system now being inflated for the bags currently being inflated. And we have a report that Orion is stable one, upright, the way it should be.
Excellent. Now again, there's no crew on this capsule, but they do have mannequins with sensors all over them, all kinds of sensors.
Once again, splashdown occurring at 11:40 a.m. Central Time, 9:40 a.m. Pacific Time, west of Baja, California, after a textbook entry for the Orion spacecraft bringing its 25-and-a-half-day mission to an end.
So there was some discussion I heard earlier. They have an astronaut on scene as well.
Orion's recovery beacon is on. We have confirmation that 4 out of the 5 crew module uprighting system bags have fully inflated, standing by for word on the 5th one. But Orion is in great shape, stable one, just in the orientation that had been expected.
So after Orion splashes down, they have a couple of choices for what to do to recover the astronauts. And like, one is to wait until they get the craft into the boat. The other is to use helicopters to retrieve them from the capsule while it's still out in the ocean. They both have their pluses and minuses. I personally would want to get out of that capsule as soon as possible. I would not want to be like floating all on the waves, like waiting for someone to get me out.
And spacecraft, having completed a journey of 1.4 million miles, bobbing gently in the Pacific Ocean. 4 out of its 5 crew module uprighting system bags have been deployed. We're standing by for word on the 5th. However, irrespective of that, it is in stable 1 configuration, in good shape, according to the recovery team.
Bobbing gently. Okay, so they're all 5 inflated. That's good. I wouldn't. I would not want to be inside that capsule bobbing up and down in the Pacific Ocean. I would want out, out, out. But we'll see what they decide to do. I mean, recovering them that way out here is obviously dangerous. But I don't know if it's that much more dangerous than trying to get them into the boat first. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what their analysis shows. So, by the way, if you're still with me, thanks for watching. I don't know how long this is going to go. We're just going to keep watching it for a while. But let me tell you what the deal is about Twitch, okay? I'm going to be making my videos on Twitch from now on. And then I'm going to edit the Twitch broadcasts with the idea of posting them on YouTube. So if you want to see like behind the scenes, like how the videos are made, and you want to have a chance to talk to me about whatever topic I'm working on at that time, Twitch is the place to be. You won't be able to comment on videos that I make on Twitch after the fact, only during the live. So if you miss the live, then check out my YouTube, which is I'm Adam Tilted there too, and you'll be able to comment on the edited version. Now, I haven't got all of that all worked out yet, so like if you jump over to YouTube now, there's not going to be a whole lot there. That's recent.
Down about 6.5 minutes ago at 11:40 a.m. Central Time, 9:40 a.m. Pacific Time. We are estimating that it splashed down around 5 nautical miles away from the USS Portland. The recovery ship and Navy boats and divers will be approaching the vehicle before long. The spacecraft is in what is called a stable 1 configuration, upright, just the way we had expected it to be. 5 perfectly inflated crew module uprighting system bags, maintaining a nice gentle configuration for Orion. First of the Navy helicopters now approaching the vehicle.
Thanks, Ferg.
And here in Mission Control, some of Orion's systems no longer needed are being powered down. Many of them will stay powered up for the next 2 hours while we conduct a series of test objectives to characterize the thermal conditioning of the spacecraft. That will be important for future data for crewed missions to determine how long the crews can remain comfortable inside a vehicle returning from the moon. We also will be conducting tests of the beacon and SARSAT system for maintaining tracking of the spacecraft, for recovery forces that will be approaching the spacecraft in the future. And coming up in the next hour and a half will be the reactivation of an ammonia boiler system that will provide cooling in the spacecraft, as it will when crews return from their missions on board Orion.
All right, so we're not going to sit here for 2 hours while they do all this testing, but I'll just kind of like summarize what they're going to do. As I mentioned, there's a decision to be made about when they're going to remove the astronauts from the capsule. And that decision is going to be based on several factors. The most important one will be the conditions inside the capsule after splashdown, because they will need to start turning off some of the capsule's systems, possibly including the cooling system, which would leave the astronauts in their suits getting hot and bobbing up and down in the ocean, which just sounds miserable to me. So they're doing some testing to see like how warm it gets inside the capsule when they turn those systems off. What happens if they leave some of those systems on? They're going to be, doing a lot of testing and probing on the spacecraft before they retrieve it into the boat, just to find out everything they can about the condition of the spacecraft after it's been on this, what was it, 1.5 million mile journey over 25 days. So it'll be interesting to get that information, and I'll update you when we have that.
Says Portland indicate that the first of two Navy helicopters flying in the vicinity of Orion, which is about 5 nautical miles away from the ship, indicate no damage to the spacecraft and no hazardous fuel leaking from the spacecraft. Good view of the helicopters and the initial Navy boats that will be approaching Orion a short time from now. Once again, the splashdown occurring at 11:40 a.m. Central Time, 9:40 a.m. Pacific Time.
Nice. Okay. Whoa. Sorry about that. We don't want to do that. You don't want to see me that close. Where's my buttons? I need to get back on the... Okay. Here we are. Make myself a little bigger. So Orion has landed successfully, but I would call that a successful test flight. I'm sure we'll be getting more information from NASA as they do their analysis of the spacecraft and the heat shield in particular, to see how well it stood up to the re-entry. And it looks like, based on what I've heard so far, it looks like we're in good position to launch crew on Artemis 2, which will be in about 2 years from now. It's a long time to wait. I know, but it takes some time to get it all ready, especially in this first start of these missions. So I think they are building and certifying the rocket now. None of these parts are reusable, which is kind of a bummer, but yeah. So they're building new systems and rockets and capsules and all that stuff for Artemis 2, which I forget the date of that, but it's in like 2 years, so we've got time. Anyway, if you're watching me on Facebook and you're watching this after the fact, drop me some comments. Let me know if you have questions or what your favorite part of this was, and I will do my best to respond to those. Again, follow me on Twitch if you want to see the live production of my future videos and be able to interact with me while I'm making them. And check out my YouTube channel. youtube.com/AdamTilted. And I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day. It is gorgeous today. I don't know why it's still in the 70s and 80s, but hey, why not? I think it's going to be in the 40s next week, so I'll just enjoy it while I can. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. Have a fantastic day. And don't forget to look up.